Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Get Out of Rap. Um, this one's going to really annoy Barry because he's back again, not Barry, but Lee Houghton from Get Knowledge, the UK's National Coach of the Year, uh, frequent visitor to Get Out of Rap, good friend, and we are jumping on jumping on the bandwagon, but maybe to have a look at the wheels and the direction of the bandwagon and think whether this is a good thing to be traveling towards. But Lee, welcome.
Oh, Mr. Teasdale, honestly, it's an absolute pleasure to just chat with you again. You are I call my daughter the little bundle of joy, but you are an absolute bundle of fun for me. So yeah, so honestly, pleasure to be chatting to you again.
Well, thank you. I'm not sure some of my family would agree with that post the marathon. I'm a bit post marathon blues, a bit grumpy, but I'm getting there. But we are going to be talking about something that's called AI.
Yeah, it's a new phrase, isn't it? I'm not sure whether many of your listeners have heard of it. I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it? It is everywhere. And we are all becoming more and more accustomed to it being everywhere. And we both had the privilege and pleasure of attending the forum conference and expo um, early this week, and there was a lot of talk and conversations about it there. And and I think for all of its good, I think there's a real danger with it as well. And I think it might be worth just exploring some of those dangers and challenges of this silver bullet of the call AI.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting that neither one of us are Luddites. You know, we were sat next to each other for most of the day at the conference talking about the merits of all the different AI that we
Yes.
utilize and how we utilize it, and different whether it's a gadget or um, whether we're ChatGPT and should we now be thinking about Claude.
Mm,
And for both of us, we're both kind of solo business owners on the slog every day. And over the, let's be honest, nearly 2 years, I think we've both shared how massively helpful it's been to helping us navigate tricky situations, structuring how we might want to keep spinning all of our different plates. It's the go to when you're thinking about business admin, tax, whatever it may be. So we're huge fans and users,
yeah.
but we've both shared and talked about what's it doing to us. Because I really like this thing that says, I think it was Erica Farmer that first said this. I was listening to her talk, and she's great about AI. And it was AI is as bad as it's ever going to be right now.
Yes. Wow.
It's only going to it'll get better tomorrow. It'll be better than again the day after.
Yeah.
And there's so many implications to that.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, yeah, dead right. Dead right. It is absolutely transformational, and it is helping and providing so much value for businesses of all sizes and scales. And it's easy to see why there is so much noise and positivity and use of it. Like you said, it helps us and in various different ways, and it's helping a lot of people. And you're dead right; it's only going to be as bad as it is now. And that's a frightening a frightening thing to say, isn't it? If we just think about how how we've used it over maybe the last 12 to 18 months, and just how much more we can use it now than we could 18 months ago, and what it's doing different, and just how it brings large volumes of things together and produces what it produces in such a short space of time is transformative. Transformative. But I do have a little fear with it. I do have a little fear. Um, can I share my little fear?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, thank you. This is all just between you and me. Like, I think, like, because more and more people are using it, and we are becoming lazier and maybe less creative and more reliant upon the answers that it's providing. So I feel like we will become less human because of AI. The things that make us beautiful in our own individual ways are the things that I fear we're going to not continue to hone our craft. Connection, human relationships, creativity, thinking, decision making, all of those things, the things that make us um, special, and we become less practiced in because we've gotten easier answers from the use of AI. Do you have the same fear, or is this just a
I,
fear for me?
I do, I do, but I think, and I'm sure we can get into this. I absolutely do, but this does remind me of we listen to the Ricky Gervais, Carl Pilkington, and Steve Merchant podcast every single night, and I have done for 11, 12, for as long as I can remember. I practically know all of them word for word.
Yeah,
And in one of them, they're challenging Carl because they say Carl doesn't like the development of technology. Now, bearing in mind these podcasts are over 20 years old, yeah,
yeah,
when they first started talking. But and he's talking about SatNav. So when SatNav first came out, and he said it's making us all lazy. And Ricky Gervais says, "Well, what? Why?" And he said, "Well, when you were traveling somewhere, you used to know which way you were going. You'd say, right, I'm getting the A34, and then I'm going to get the M40, and then the M1, and it's junction 12." He said, "Now we're just getting lazy. We're just letting SatNav do it." And Ricky Gervais kind of picks that apart a little bit and says, "Well, we've gone from the compass to, they didn't say to Christopher Columbus, how are you getting there? You
yeah,
using the stars?" He went, "No, no, I'm using the compass." "Oh, lazy, and
yeah.
um, it's as technology's evolved, and even if you think not just from how you're driving around, but where you're using AI to get quick answers, I think where there's real merit to what you're saying is in whether it is in business and putting a proposal together, or sending an email to someone, or doing a LinkedIn post, all the way down to sort of education with people producing coursework and things like that. It's so good now. You technically can do it and not be involved in it, not really use it to pique your interest or make a good point. You can just go, that here's what I want to know. It's all about how you're putting the prompts in, get a good result. And I haven't really engaged in that topic. I've just got an answer I'm happy with, and away it goes. And if you
Yeah,
take whether they're whether they're LinkedIn posts, I think you could argue that we are evolving, that we're getting better at spotting what is 99% AI, because there is no flavor of who the person is behind that. No matter how many times it might say at the bottom, "Would you like this to be more playful?" Um, I think
mm,
you could, I think we've got better at spotting it, but I do share your concerns around um, what we are, what we're doing whilst this is taking place. Are we just observers, or are we going to take the output and think, okay, what bits of that help will I use, versus I'm now not really part of this activity. I've put my prompt in, I've got the answer.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
And then the response back to you is also AI driven, and you could just say, "Tell me when we've made the sale," or tell me, to prompt me when there's a result to your communication with John, but it's not really John. It's just John using Claude.
Correct. Yes, John and Claude. First thing, can you just do your Ricky Gervais, ooh lazy voice again? That was very impressive.
Ooh, lazy.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't realize you could do impressions as well. Amazing. You're a man of many talents, and that's why you were a bundle of fun. Um, and then, so like, I find myself nodding along with you, but also disagreeing with you internally with something which I quite like actually.
Mm,
Because although I do nod along with the logic that you're saying, I do think some being human, and all of the things that I really value in us as human beings. And I recognize that this is just an individual thing. It's the thing. It's like I think it's a muscle we have to practice a lot. Like building connection, making friends, conversing in a meaningful way, building trust, like getting to know people on like who they are, all of all of those things. And then when I think about in a business context, I always say that the two most important metrics in any organization never measured are the number of new thoughts we are creating in our people, and then the lead time from those thoughts being had to conversations taking place and then actions happening. And there could be an argument to say that AI is helping us think new things. And it could very well be, and it is in a number of instances. And there could be an argument to also say that AI will also help us have those conversations and also take action in them. But if but I think my fear comes from its removal of the other people in the equation, and I think that's the thing for me. It's the connectedness of humanity, and the working on this, the human muscle of just connecting in a human thing. I think that's the thing as we're talking now that I fear. Like there's a lot of people now working from home and who may say that they talk to Claude more than they do Colin, who lives next door, or Colin from the office and stuff. And that's where I think the fear is stemming from. We are losing the art, or potentially practicing being human
mm.
through overutilization of AI.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. We're agreeably disagreeing on some things, which is nice, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is.
But
It is.
doesn't this present an opportunity for people to lean into the distinctly human part of connection?
Yes.
Because you could say AI is doing a lot of the bollocks mongering, and we're focusing on the emotions and the meaningful stuff. It is funny. Like I devour the news via the BBC app on my phone. I'd always be reading through it, and some of their in-depth articles I really like. Started reading them, and then and I read one, and at the very bottom, it said this was part of a trial of this article has been written by AI, but it has been sense checked, edited by one of our editorial staff,
Yeah.
and, and it made me. It was weird because reading that made me go, oh, I felt like instinctually kind of like a bit like, oh no, I don't think I like that. If it hadn't have been there, I wouldn't have noticed. I wouldn't have noticed. I
Yeah.
read the article. It was really interesting. Happy days. But seeing that kind of disclaimer at the bottom was a little bit like, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Mm.
I don't know why. I've nothing more to add.
I think the first thing you said there is, and this is where I agree wholeheartedly, is this is a huge opportunity for us to face into. And I hope everybody recognizes the opportunity to face into the recognizing the human qualities that we don't want to lose: creativity, curiosity, connection, and doubling down on those things, rather than purely just doubling down on the technology roadmaps and things like that. We need to recognize the human aspect of these, face into these, and work extra hard. It's like when COVID happened and everybody went working from home, lots of people felt isolated because they couldn't have the water cooler conversations and things with their colleagues. And so teams have had to learn how to create those connection moments just in a different way. And I really hope people are embracing the human side of AI and the things that we're missing that we just need to really double down on. Like, we still have loads of meetings, and I encourage teams to have, like, if you have an hour long meeting, like the first 5 minutes should be a connect, the last 5 minutes need to be a reflect. So we connect for 5 minutes and reflect for 5 minutes at the end, and you have a 15-minute meeting in between. Because like, if you just ask one new question to get to know everybody in the room for the first 5 minutes, and
What
then
did
at
you
the
have for
end,
dinner, for example?
the perfect question, and then at the last 5 minutes, like what are we all taking away, or what have we all heard today in this last conversation, or all of those things, then we are still providing those moments to connect. And I think that is exactly where I'm agreeing with you. We need to face into this, understand the human impact, and work extra hard to create those moments like of curiosity, without just asking your Claude or your ChatGPTs or your Perplexities the question. How can we get the knowledge of the people in the room, make everybody think as well?
Mm. It's interesting, isn't it? Because the other day, me and you were both talking about whether we should move our AI that we both use individually from ChatGPT to Claude. And it was kind of, I think you said something along the lines of like, ChatGPT knows me so well, it's got all my history.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to leave ChatGPT for
Yeah,
Claude.
yeah. I'm connected to an AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It knows me better than I do sometimes, which is frightening.
But I do completely agree that it's I also wonder about the like the intellectual um impact. But again, does that just mean that real lived experience in a topic with all of the failures that go into becoming good at something become even more important?
Mm.
Because at a cursory level, I could just go onto my other screen right now and go, tell me everything I need to know to be able to go to a scuba diving conference and fit in. And it's
Yep.
gonna it's gonna give me everything, and I could just remember this parrot fashion and go out there and do it. But I have no lived experience of scuba diving.
Mm.
But it does, it that element, I guess, is something. I'm not sure if concern is the right word. It's more like how our relationship to knowledge, understanding, how we use it is changing. It has to be It has to be changing in the same way that the internet changed everything. You know that we are um, the amount of information at our fingertips, or that we are just bombarded with, is changing how we think.
Yep.
And it's soon then going to change. It has changed our behaviors and will continue to do so. How do we ensure that that is something that's to our benefit across all of the different things? You know, a lot of your work, you talk about head, hands, heart.
Yep.
And again, that kind of is going to come. That's going to probably be even more important than pre AI.
Yeah. Yeah. How do we leverage it to work better together as humans? Um, it's yeah, it is the human thing. It like and what when you said about the head, hands, and hearts, then when I think about AI, we are using AI a lot for the head is like the intellectual stimulation and the thoughts that we're creating, And we are outsourcing some of that to AI. The hands part of it, we are outsourcing some of the physical activity or the transactional activity to AI and bots and stuff. So we are outsourcing some of the things that I think are important for human, like to get job satisfaction and development from. The heart part of it, we are never outsourcing, and I think that's the thing for me, is recognizing that the AI will never take the heart of people, but like, because we are outsourcing some of the thinking and thoughts and outsourcing some of the action and stuff, how can we maintain our level of humanness to have this level of strength of connection to each other without being isolated? I've used a lot of words. I'm not sure I made any sense with what I said, but it's
Well,
it,
I'll ask ChatGPT. I've got it listening
yeah,
into this.
yeah,
So I'll say, did he make any sense
yeah,
then?
yeah, yeah. Summarize this podcast in 30 seconds. I mean, that's another, like, so I sometimes use Perplexity to put, you can put in a YouTube video into Perplexity and analyze it, and it gives you the top two or three things. But I've not put any thinking into that, and like the danger of that is, like, if I'm watching a video, I'm turning up to watch that video based on my experience, my level of education, my current circumstance. And every time we are speaking, or every time we listen, we may resonate with different things at different times based on where we currently are. If I'm just putting everything into Perplexity and going, it's just summarizing what it believes based on maybe the frequency of words or the intent of the conversation to summarize the important points. Like, we may, like, I don't know, you may have read a book or watched a film multiple times, and every time you take something different because you're turning up at a different place. And it's these things that I don't want us to miss.
You are still thinking in that scenario, though. You found Perplexity. You've decided that you're going to use it to summarize the YouTube video. And again, I agree that you're not going to have the same experience, but and this isn't a diss at you, by the way, but it's probably going to be more accurate than if you were taking your own notes. Right.
In absolutely, based on the overall summary of what it's observing, but the things that I may have taken away as the most important things might be different because I'm turning up as maybe in a different place based on what is currently happening to me. So it's removing the opportunity for me to think those things, and it's just giving me a generic thing that then I've got to choose. But it might be the same thing, it might not.
I also wonder about interest as well. Like, for example, if you're interested and want to know about what's going on in the Middle East, you could get great summary within seconds.
Yep.
But if you wanted to find out more, you'd want to hear from experts and humans. You'd want to. It might help you understand the different sides, factions, history, but actually the nuance. You'd go, now recommend a great documentary, or people I can listen to who are experts in the subject, because they're going to give you something more than what is still a comprehensive. You've still kind of moved forward in your understanding,
Yeah.
but it's never going to be quite in that area. It won't be as good as this guy's been a diplomat involved in both sides for 20 years, and he's going to talk you through why there hasn't been a peace agreement or whatever. But there is still some thinking. I think one of the things that always intrigues me is inclusion and exclusion in the AI the AI world. So has has it helped people who previously might have been excluded in society get access to work, access to
Yeah.
connection, help them, whether that is because of a physical or mental vulnerability, disability, that AI has been doing some wonderful things to help. But equally, I think there's also exclusion that is a bit of a concern. Like
Mm,
the again, we assume everyone's using it, companies are using it, people are using it, and that's not necessarily the case at all. Who the people that are being excluded, are they being left behind and left behind at a startling rate? Is
mm.
it kind of is it something to be concerned about? And equally on the inclusion thing, I do know that there are people that I respect that say it's probably not being used enough for minority groups and things like that. So again, yeah, it's just another one that I wrestle with on the topic of AI, how inclusive it is, or how people are being excluded from it.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like, yeah, a little story popped into my head. So my nan, she's 98 years old, and she pays her all of her bill, or the majority of her bill, by a checkbook, and not a lot of people now are accepting checks. So she's been excluded from the way that she's done.
Mm,
It's just technology moving on, isn't it?
mm,
For different reasons, as well. And I think, like, I guess just to summarize, AI for me, that everything we spoke about comes down to how we use it. And if we reframed AI, so give it still say AI, but if we had a different definition for it, and it's actual intention, and if we understood our actual intention behind, like, when we use it, why we're using it, what we're going to miss, who are we going to miss, um, and then I think we could be in a far better, more inclusive place for everybody, but also for us as individuals. We might be more curious. We might be more creative. We can use the outputs in a better way to bring people together. It comes down to the actual intention of every leader, of every person, of every business, and how we are adopting AI. And are we doing it just to cut costs, or are we doing it to succeed in the long
mm.
term?
I think there's some fascinating society-based questions as well. There's people who say where this is heading to a place where humans, we will get far more leisure time because everything is, a lot of the other stuff is being done by AI.
Yeah,
But that I always I've always got a problem with that because I think that assumes that there's coalesced thought around where things are heading. Even if you look at business, right? It's not like leaders are getting together and thinking about the intent of why they're using it. Everyone's doing something that they believe is for the best for the business, and it's even less coordinated, I think, from a governments or leaders of people in society point of view.
yeah,
Who knows where we're heading? Because in the kind it in the picture that I've read some people paint, it's like we'll just the biggest thing that we're going to have to adjust to is that we're going to have more spare time, and that could be great because we're going to art, there'll be a boom in arts and hobbies and things like that. I always come back to, like, who's paying for who, am I still being paid in this scenario? Like
yeah,
how is all this going to work? Um this wonderful future state, you just can't. I I find that hard to believe. I'd like it to be true, and I do think it prompts a lot of thought when you go to the extreme as to what's next. What else are we going to be using AI for? And your earlier point about your nan, I think, is really interesting because we're an aging population,
yeah,
and again, it's that kind of exclusion that the gap is the gap going to get wider? I mean, and we haven't even touched on people that are using this for nefarious means, and whether
Mm.
that is, inciting division and hatred, all the way to criminals using it with ever more sophistication. Um, it's a minefield.
It
I was
is.
hoping
It
you were
is.
going to solve it. To be honest, that was my aim.
Yeah. Apologies. Maybe I
You're
need to
not
be
there
invited.
yet.
Yeah. No. Maybe I need to be invited back on just to really annoy Barry. And like when we were at the the forum conference earlier this week, like there was one person in the audience, so they did loads of amazing group discussions, and one of the tables fed back at the end, and they said about the impact of AI, and they spoke about the organizational structures will no longer be triangles. They said that it's likely to be a diamond because of the work that the AI will replace will make it more of a diamond hierarchical structure in organizations. Will it be a diamond, or will it just be a smaller triangle? Will we have both? Will it be a rectangle? I don't. There's lots of. I don't think we know yet, do we? And I think your point from about 15 minutes ago about we need to just face into it and we need to embrace it, and we need to. That's exactly what we need to do. But we need to understand really and truly why are we using it, and how can we bring all of our people um, with us, both intellectually, physically, and emotionally as well. So no, I can't fix it today for you, but I think there's a lot of things that are really exciting about it.
There
But I
are.
still do have a fear.
I think it's right. I think it's right to be cautious as well, though. You can be enthusiastic, but still cautious, right? You can.
Yep.
Um, there is, whether it is LinkedIn or certainly in the contact center world, all notes will be standardized. You don't need to. Agents don't need to worry about taking notes and putting them in. And it's so funny, but that small thing made me think. You know what? That that's so obviously meant to be a good thing, but I know from my time being an agent, if I was talking to you and I would just go, if I have to come back and sort of talk to you again, it's going to be very hard for me to remember you. So I would add things in there like um, something we might have spoken about, or something that happened, or you had a parrot in the background. I go, has a noisy parrot in background. Will those things be gone? And I think it that's quite a leap to go from there to like personality and the interest you can find in different people's personalities. But you're only, LinkedIn, for example, where we get to read, we're connected to lots and lots of people, but we might not have ever physically met them. So you can
Yeah.
only go by how they're showing up and what they post. I think it's got better, but there was certainly a time when I was thinking so many of the posts I'm reading are AI, it's a copy and paste, and some people actually did copy and paste without taking out the bottom bit.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's the uncomfortable truth about AI, isn't it? That uncomfortable truth is in the majority of the AI posts, isn't it? It, and it does make things easier, quicker, faster, content better structured as well in some instances. But as I get a lot of, I need to get things out of my head and get stuff onto paper, and there's a process that helps me like declutter my brain, and I need to write some stuff um, to get it out to clear. And so I think it comes down to like what's our actual intention. So that's what AI for me, in summary for this conversation, is that's what it means. That's what we need to really think about, is what's our actual intention, and what are we going to do to make it better for everybody, not just faster, quicker, simpler, but more enjoyable, and allow us to think more, be more curious, and just develop humanity as well. Quite a grand summary of that for me, if I'm honest.
Well, it's great. I,
Can we go
I,
back to
I,
the Ricky Gervais impression?
lazy. Um, but this is that I could have read that as a AI summary. It was that good, but it wouldn't have had your face, your laugh, the
Mm.
the winning smile and things like that.
Oh, stop it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a. I mean, this is a challenge. It's a conversation that will rumble on for a lot longer. Um, but we've just got to embrace it, haven't we? Um, and we've just got to, because like you said right at the start, like AI is not going to be as bad as it is today, and we as humans need to get better as well. Mm.
I think there will be opportunity to lean into non-AI stuff that maybe we'd not used in the so much recently. Like someone gave me a physical business card the other day, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Um,
Retro.
yeah, but
Yeah.
things like that. Will there be greater take up on doing things more face to face? Will there be like you go to activities and things like that where it's part of the rules that there's no AI involved? I don't know. I think for every movement within society, there's also like there's always a
Mm,
counter movement with people saying, no, we are gonna show up as humans. There's gonna be more personal contact and things like that. And I mentioned education right at the start. Education's trying to ensure that people aren't just using AI to get their qualifications, that they're trying to engender more kind of conversation and still what we'd know as like historical ways to research.
mm.
Um, it is fascinating, but you can't just be a fascinated observer because we're using it, it's happening. And if we come back to what me and you do, surely we're always trying to find a way to do more, to be more efficient, and to for that to cost less.
Yep.
Now, I'm sure there's experts that could come in and say, you guys are not even. This is a tip of the iceberg you're using. You should be doing X, Y, and Z. And we kind of we chase that ourselves. We talk about it a lot, don't we? Going like, how can we utilize it to get more efficient? But it
Y-
isn't that just to free up more time for you to do the human part of what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is two sides of the same coin, isn't it? Like we have to embrace it to find the right solutions to help us move forward, but then without losing our ability to challenge our own thoughts and thinking. We need to use it to further our thinking, further our curiosity, further our creativity, and further our human connection. And I think as long as that's our actual intention behind it, then my fear subsides. However, it grows if if we're not using it in that way.
It has helped me with one of my biggest fears, though. And I mean, my biggest fear is that Tottenham get relegated from the Premier League, it looking like a certainty. And ChatGPT has helped me kind of accept it and think,
Oh,
what
good.
what other thing, what could you look
Yeah.
forward
Who
to? I
who else can you
mean,
support? Yeah.
no, I mean, come on. That's
Yeah,
not
I
that
know.
that just doesn't happen. I mean, ChatGPT, even that should understand. You don't change the team you support.
No,
Um,
no.
there's it listed out some reasons that there's a lot to look forward to next season.
It,
Not sure if I believed it
cheaper ticket prices. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Get to
Yeah,
see Lincoln City come to the one of the best stadiums in the world.
yeah.
Um,
Blackburn Rovers is probably the closest ground to me. Or one of the closest grounds to me. So that you can pop up to an
there you
away
go.
game at Blackburn. So there's many
Many.
positives for you. Yeah, might be
No.
difficult to see. No, no. There's a few weeks left. I think you'll be all right. Actually, I think you'll be all right.
Well, again, the stats that they use on the BBC website, driven by AI, have us down. It's between us and West Ham, and
Yeah.
we have a much higher probability of going down. I mean, we could do a whole episode just on why this has happened, but
Yeah.
don't want to go there.
No, no, I feel like my little bundle of joy, fun, like Martin, you like your energy's just dropped a little bit now. Sorry about the Tottenham thing. Can I help?
I if you were yeah, we could sign you and you could play against Villa away on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure that would help. Not sure that would help. No, you'll be all right though. You will be all right. Whatever
That's
happens,
the spirit.
yeah, whatever happens, you'll be fine. You will be
Exactly.
fine.
And maybe the same is true when we think about AI. It's all going to be all right in the end.
Yeah, no, dead right. It is if we face into it in the right way and with the actual intention to not forget the person. Like we believe that people are the greatest assets in any organization. And as long as we collectively as society maintain that belief, then we will absolutely be fine.
And there you go, everyone. I can confirm this. I have not been talking to a deep fake
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Lee. He hasn't
I
got
would I
six
would have
foot.
removed the lines if that was the case.
And maybe we could have both had a nice head of hair.
Yes, yeah, it's
Or
funny.
do you prefer it?
So, ever since Tuesday, when my daughter India said we look like brothers, I quite like me look now. So, because you're a fine looking man, Martin.
And on that bombshell,
Yeah.
thank you, Yoda.
Oh, no, pleasure all mine. Cheers, mine.
See you, mate.
Bye bye.
Has he finished? Let's go.